And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another installation of the Podrace After Party. This is already the eighth week. I can't believe that we have done eight streams so far, which is fantastic. I would like to introduce you to my co-host and my guests. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, it's Flip. You know me, Star Wars streaming and skits. Thanks for having me on, as always, General Katarn, and love to have our wonderful guest today. Looking forward to our chat, and I'm going to pass it over to Rant.
Oh, thank you there, Flip. Yeah, I am the Rant. I do all kinds of weird stuff. Just come check out the channel and see if you like it.
I am Sean Stackhouse. I want to thank General Katarn for inviting me on. I appreciate that very much. You can check me out at Sean Stackhouse Reacts on YouTube, and I'm all over Twitter. So just type in my name, you'll find me.
Awesome.
That's right. And if you have not found him, I will find you. That's how that works.
He has a very
Watch
special
out,
skill set.
Yes, exactly.
Funny
He will
costume.
be he will be waiting for you in the bush in a barrel.
Yes, that is what I do. That is what I do.
He waits in the bush.
Sometimes I have to be the bush. So,
Yeah.
like, I
That's
have to make
dedication.
a whole suit.
Just like those old Looney Tune cartoons, where they would basically just take the bush and move closer and closer.
Exactly. I start off with a cardboard box and just put twigs in it,
You work with the environment that you're given. Yep, that's what you got to do.
So, guys, what we have right now on our hands, the most interesting news that has been perpetuating through our community lately. I saw it in Mike Zero, and naturally I dismissed it because, it's Mike Zero. He said that Luke and Ray would have a fight in episode 8. I look forward to it, and what we got was a stick fight. So, yeah, lightsabers from sticks are very, very different. So then I saw it in Star Wars Theory, and I said that's more of a credible source than Mike Zero, although he did claim to have some sources on Snoke right before episode 8. But yeah, he got us Vader Shards of the Past, so that is something that I can forgive. So Lucas is returning once again to his old beloved franchise that he sold to the white slavers that he said, quote unquote, on Disney. And so there is this rumor that basically is going to be helping J.J. Abrams with episode 9. J.J. Abrams, if this is true, is desperate. He wants to make a good movie because he is anticipating the backlash of Solo and episode 8. Please do discuss.
Well, if George Lucas is coming back I've read it's to fix the Luke Skywalker character problem. If that's why he's coming back, that's a great idea. I think. I wish they would have brought him on in 8 because, I know that there are some Jedi, less Jedi defenders that are not SJWs, and they just like the movie, and that's fine. And they say, well, this is the Luke. We don't know his progression over the 30 years that we don't see. Maybe this is what he turned into, and I understand where they're coming from, but this is just not the Luke that I remember from episode 6. So if Lucas can help with that, I'm completely okay with it.
I have to agree, Sean. Lucas was rumored to return to the Obi-Wan movie last year. He was found to actually be scouting locations. Gosh, I can't remember. I think it was either Ireland. I think Ireland, and they connected him with the Obi-Wan series at that time. And since it's become an Obi-Wan TV streaming series, with Ewan McGregor still attached to the project, and that's been confirmed by Screen Rant or Comic Book Report, one of the others. I can't recall which. Got so many notes here, I really can't find them, but that's been confirmed. So if now you're saying that Lucas is returning to episode 9 to assist with Luke Skywalker, I would agree that can only mean good for the character. But my question is, what incentive does he have except to say that he's looking at these, like you said, Katarn, white slavers?
Well, maybe it's not so much of an incentive as much of he wants to untarnish his legacy as much as possible.
Well, if
Yeah.
I had a $4 billion check, I wouldn't give a damn because George Lucas is not 25 anymore. He's in his 70s, I think. So,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think he cares anymore. See, George Lucas kind of reminds me of a thing that my father said um, a while back, and now I understand what he meant. I was in my early 20s, and I was very fixed on the idea that, hey, if a family really needs to have a boy to continue the family name, and I thought that was important. And you know what? My dad said, hey, you know what? Even if I had two girls, because it's me and my sister, so he said if I had two girls, that meant that they wouldn't continue the family name one way or another. Eventually, I would die, and it wouldn't really matter. So I wouldn't come and haunt over people with the fact that my name wasn't continued, because when I'm gone, I'm gone. That's it. So basically, I think that George Lucas is following the same principle. I know it's kind of grim, but basically, when George Lucas dies, his legacy dies with him. I think that it died with him in 2012 when he sold his property to Disney. And I still believe to this day that he did it out of spite to the prequel haters and all of the backlash that he got for, the prequels. You know what I'm talking about. We've seen videos all over YouTube. And 2012 was the hotspot. It was a hot zone of videos and backlash and complaints. They call us today that we are complaining about The Last Jedi, but they forget about the prequel complaints, and they were much worse than the ones that we got about The Last Jedi. Much, much worse. I would take Hayden Christensen over Adam Driver any day, and I'm pretty sure that most people would. As a matter of fact, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think you're right with the backlash on the prequels being, a little bit worse. It's just that we didn't have social media at that point in time, and the movement wasn't hijacked by a group either. So it was just fandom. Like back when we could have a civilized debate still within the fandom. We had some people saying, "Oh, no, I like it," and then other people saying, "Nah, I didn't really care for it," and that was it. But I think that's probably accurate. And George Lucas, he did. There are articles saying that he did not care for the way the backlash came in on him for the prequels, and I think you're right. I think he sold it just so he didn't have to deal with any more backlash because, fans want what fans want. And even though he's the creator, I guess that doesn't really matter to some fans.
Yeah.
It matters to me. I don't think that the fact that he has $4 billion affects him at all because he used that term white slavery, If he
did.
I saw that interview. Yeah, agreed. I saw that interview and I thought, hell yeah, that was the coolest thing especially after having seen The Last Jedi. You could see it in his eyes and the way he held his face, it was like he was pissed. I asked
Disney promised him one thing.
Yeah.
They promised him one thing in an interview with him and Kathleen Kennedy. They said, "Oh, we're going to continue on with what George has done here and we're going to honor his legacy." They said that right in front of him, and then they come out with this garbage.
Yeah, but remember, Palpatine said, "I love the Republic. I love democracy." And then the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Isn't that
he said
funny?
that in the Senate. So basically, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy, Palpatine, everything that we fans loved and cherished. I don't find it weird. And I can't stress this enough. I say this every single time. There is this one video by this guy called Matthew Kadish. And one day Senpai will notice me. But I watched it. It's a 1 hour long video, and it explains basically why Kathleen Kennedy has her power in Lucasfilm. And when you see that video, he basically gives a whole layout, a blueprint of how Lucasfilm's producers and board is laid out. So when you actually see how it works, you're like, yeah, it makes sense why she's on that board. So it's basically, politics, yes, connections, and yes, the agreement of agendas. So it is only natural that this thing happened. Now, if we knew this a long time ago, we would have been boycotting Star Wars a long a lot earlier, since maybe The Force Awakens. But we got what we got. But what is important right now is what we see in the end of Episode 9. And I say this every single time, guys. The only thing that's important to me for Episode 9 is that I see Luke Skywalker at the final film of a supposed saga ending honoring him. I don't care what happens to Rey, Kylo Ren. I don't care if they bring back Snoke as a Hydra with 10 Snoke heads. I don't care. As long as I see Luke Skywalker holding his green glowing lightsaber once again, even if he gets knocked down because of his old age, I don't care.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that's very possible because, in the end of Last Jedi, when Luke disappears, the only thing that I will hold on to from that movie is that his hand did not stay back with his robe. When Anakin passed away and he became a Force ghost, he became, long before the Hayden Christensen thing, he became whoever that actor was in the Force Ghost when it, reappeared. He didn't have anything Vader on him. He was just a Jedi again. So, so if Luke, in theory, would be a Force ghost, he would have his hand back. He would not have that robotic hand.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, basically, I thought of this when he faded supposedly in the Force. Sorry, I was thinking about a better movie than The Last Jedi. When you saw him in the Last Jedi, he basically faded in, and you should have expected a clunky arm to fall down because it's not part of him; it's a metallic contraption. Now, I've heard a lot of excuses about the arm, saying that symbolically it means that it's a part of Luke since he lost it from his father. Yada yada yada. Yeah, that could work, but basically, what I understand about the whole arm thing is it is either Luke, it is either an intelligent design that maybe Ryan Johnson didn't disappoint us after all. Basically, we could have been lashing at him until Episode 9 comes out and it turns out to be a brilliant masterpiece. Again, hopeful thinking. Or Episode 9 basically has to do a damage control course correction thing where he basically, J.J. Abrams, has to fix what Ryan Johnson did. He did a lot of editing errors, and I do not find it surprising if he left out the metal arm being one of those editing errors.
So you think it's possible that Ryan Johnson just didn't know Star Wars lore well enough to actually make sure he edited out that arm?
It's not possible. It is 100% fact.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It is 100% fact. This guy does not get Star Wars. Star Wars, Sean, I don't know if you've ever wandered into my channel. Basically what I did, and I'm going to prove this while promoting my most popular video series up to now. I made, a long time ago, I came up with this idea. I wanted to disprove The Last Jedi by using a different method. Now, a lot of people say that it doesn't work as a story, or Ryan Johnson is retarded, or Kathleen Kennedy is evil. Yeah, we know that. But then I decided to disprove it in a more stable way that is more objective on both sides. And literature doesn't care if you are pro or against Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. Literature is literature. There are fundamental rules that you have to follow if you want your film to be successful. And I said, hey, The Last Jedi maybe didn't follow literature. And for example, you get the mentor archetype. Lord of the Rings followed it perfectly with Gandalf and with Obi-Wan in the original trilogy, for example. And the main hero, like Frodo and Luke, yeah, they were whiny brat and kids, but they were likable, Rey's not. He's perfect at everything. She's a Mary Sue. And then you get the bad guys, you get this, you get that. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm onto something. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just dismantling The Last Jedi by using basic literature and the basic guidelines and steps to literature that we've seen in popular movies so far, and books and whatever. And I thought to myself, oh my God, Ryan Johnson is illiterate because he's not using basic literature to make a good movie. And I started making this series, and not to ruffle my feathers and just come off as a peacock, but a lot of people like this, and one of the main reasons why I have this platform now is because they enjoyed my series. So
yeah, that's actually very, very smart. I think there's something to that. You know, I don't think Ryan Johnson is okay. Maybe he's not a horrible filmmaker overall, but I don't think he was the right choice to write and direct a Star Wars movie. And you know, then they gave him his own trilogy before The Last Jedi even came out. I mean, what's up with that?
Well, that's because he did exactly what they wanted. Every little thing they wanted in there, he put in there. So they're like, "Oh, okay, good boy. Here's your bone."
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You know, he was kind of the lapdog for Kathleen Kennedy, I guess. But overall, you know, it was supposed to, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but overall, I believe this was originally supposed to have been JJ's trilogy, and then JJ couldn't do episode 8 for whatever reason.
Well, basically, I think that they were going for the synergy that Lucas, Kirshner, and Marquand had. But, you know, those guys were basically, they were educated, and Ryan Johnson isn't, because, you know, he called people assholes on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure that if Marquand and Irvin Kershner had Twitter today, they wouldn't call their fans assholes.
Yeah.
It has to do with character. I mean, when you see a Luke milking the giant whale tip thing on screen, and you see behind the scenes how Ryan Johnson is maliciously, and I'm stressing on this, maliciously laughing at Mark Hamill at the degradation of his character, so that he could promote Rose Tico and Ray. You can understand where this is all coming from. It was an agenda all the way from the start. From the Force Awakens.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in that scene that you mentioned, where Luke is milking whatever that is, that's right after he found out that Han had been killed. Why wasn't he mourning Han? Why didn't they show a scene with him mourning Han? Instead, he was getting blue milk.
Can I tell you guys a secret? Because he's
Sure.
a white male.
Yes, white males have no feelings.
Yeah.
It's a proven fact. Yeah, I mean, it was just a horrible mess. I went and, you know, when I went to go see it, I was relatively excited because, you know, The Force Awakens, even though it was a rehash of A New Hope, it didn't hit a sour note with me. And I wasn't nearly excited as I was going into The Force Awakens, of course. But The Last Jedi, you know, just walking out, I was just like, what did I just see? What was that? It wasn't a Star Wars movie to me. It was like 2 hours of slop.
Well, the recipe for success of the Star Wars franchise was already there. It was already there. We had so many EU books, videos, and I can't stress this enough. I wanted to see Kyle Katarn on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
guys, I swear they did that on purpose.
Yeah. Do you know what they did on purpose? They basically took Finn's storyline and said, hey, Finn is like Kyle Katarn. They said, okay, tell me why. Kyle Katarn defected from the Empire and Finn defected from the First Order. And I was like, okay, and? That's what they have in common. Yeah, Finn was a coward that wanted to quit and run away in the Outer Rim, and Kyle Katarn was a dynamic character that wanted to avenge the death of his pilot and the woman that he loved. So they keep going. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Katarn basically single-handedly took down an Empire installation by taking down Desan and Grand Admiral Fire. Kyle Katarn didn't need Luke Skywalker to pass the trials, but basically single-handedly took down a cartel by Rilo Baruch.
Yeah.
What did they do out of all of
You can go on and on.
Yeah. Finn got kissed by Rose Tico. I'm so glad that Kyle Katarn is not like. Because if you're saying that Jan Ors is like Rose Tico, I would be disgusted right now. I wrote a fan fiction about Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors, and I don't think that Rose Tico is like Jan Ors. Now people will be like, racist, and no. Rose Tico is so forced. It is so forced. It just pushed me through the door.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned Rose Tico and racist together, because I mean, to me, it's like the SJWs. They can't separate the character from the actor or the actress. You know, you may not like the character, but you have no problem necessarily with the actor or actress that
He's one of the
portraying
most
them.
amazing people I've seen. But you see,
Yeah.
the thing is why Rose Tico was racist. I'm going to explain this in just a few lines. Is because Rose Tico is well, basically the actress Kelly Mary Tran is Vietnamese, and the
Hmm.
Chinese, for example, have a great problem. They don't like the Vietnamese. Okay, it's in their culture. We can't do anything about that. And they somehow missed this. And when Alita Battle Angel came out, for example, the Chinese audience loved this movie. Okay, and she wasn't even real. She was like 100% CGI. So it goes to show you that Disney, with all their resources and all these people working for them, they basically missed a very simple cultural fact that the Chinese and the Vietnamese are not the same thing. Ergo, racist. They're like, they have slits in their eyes and they're basically in the same part of the world, so they're the same, right? No.
Oh yeah, no, not at all, not at all. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Well, you know, I think a lot of Disney's issue is that they have had relatively huge success just with America and say the UK, you know, alone with those two areas of the world have been a lot of Disney success. So now since they've acquired Lucasfilm, they've acquired Marvel, you know, they're branching out and they're seeing how these movies play out in foreign audiences that aren't the UK, and they don't necessarily know how to prepare a film for these diverse audiences. I think it's a huge learning curve that Disney should have already kind of been thinking about before they made their first movies with these properties.
And you're so right, because Disney doesn't seem to be like the company that doesn't have the resources or the knowledge to make a good film. They've done it before. That's why the fans feel so betrayed, because they have succeeded so many times before. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't, Disney didn't need to make a trip to Africa or Senegal to actually study lions to make The Lion King.
Right.
Yeah, they just needed to take Hamlet from Shakespeare and turn it into Africa style, and it wasn't racist and it was rather successful. And hashtag I still cry when I watch The Lion King.
Oh yeah, dude, that's one of my all-time favorite movies from Disney. Lion King and Aladdin. I have no problem with Disney as it was when I was a kid, you know, growing up. It's what they've become over the past maybe 5-6 years. You know, and the thing is, like you mentioned the EU earlier, you know, Disney obviously, you know, if you acquire a huge property like Star Wars, you know, you're going to need some sort of time to hit your stride with telling a story. And that's understandable because you have no history with this. What they could have done is they could have really delve into the EU, and they could have told those stories and knocked those movies out back to back to back, you know, and I think that would have gone over much better with the fans.
Yeah, yeah. Well, ideally speaking, that's what it is. But Kathleen Kennedy had that agenda to shut down our throats because,
Yeah.
Solo. We just have to think about Solo. What we expected to see is how Han got his blaster, how he met Lando, how he met Chewie. And instead they were like, how he met Chewie? They had a shower together. How he met Lando? Oh, he fucked droids. I can't stress this enough. I say this every single. So let's just refresh this whole chat and let me give a shout out locally to the live chat that we've got. Stig Jan said, it's a Craft Productions. Of course, the woman of our hearts, Mary Vidalis, the DJ and the show, which stopped by to say hello, and I really appreciate that. And of course, who else do I have? Dead Rebel Storage, because this person is up to me in the very early stages of my channel, and I really appreciate the fact that he still takes the time. I appreciate everyone taking the time. You are old. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say hail to all of these people. And we can continue. Flip, are you there, my friend? You seem, what are you, abducting anyone? Because, Flip isn't not from around here.
No, I'm looking up stuff on Mashable, Inverse, Comic Book Reports, Screen Rant, all that stuff, just writing stuff down. Yep. I just want to say, Sean, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
There are so many. It's like funny once you get so high up, maybe 200 subs or something like that. For some reason, these SJWs just kind of come out of the woodwork, and they think that they can tell you how to do stuff, what to do, why you should do it, and so in light of that, I'm just sitting here doing my research to attack back. I'm sick of it. Honestly.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
And it's funny because we say things like hail, and we normally don't do that. But the reason I am doing that is because I think it's important to include our good friends at Comicsgate in some of our conversations sometimes. And so, hail.
Hail.
Yeah, hail. I have no problem with including Comicsgate. I think Comicsgate is actually a good thing for comics.
Yeah.
In fact, and speaking of comics, I just read, I think it was yesterday, that Disney might be closing Marvel Comics.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder why. What, you mean disassociating, undoing their merger, so to speak?
No, I wish. But no, it's just, I guess it's the comics, the printed comics haven't been selling well for DC or for Marvel. DC, in fact, last week DC announced that they are really, really cutting back on their publications. So they're cutting them like more than half. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know, it's crazy. Because I mean, you're talking about generations and generations that have grown up with these stories told in print form, and
Yeah.
and if Marvel completely shuts down the print, if that's what they were meaning, that's just going to be an end of an era.
That's true. Was that you I was talking to the other day? It might have, because Stacks, the real comic Stacks, and you, I get you mixed up when I'm in the middle of a chat. So, just because the word stack, that's all.
Right.
But was it you I was talking to about Squirrel Girl?
No, that must have been Comic Stacks.
Must have been. What's your take on Squirrel Girl?
I know that they're doing some live adaptation of Squirrel Girl, or at least trying to. But I really don't know. I don't have like a huge vested history in Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times when I've been to the comic store or whatever. I have an extensive collection. The problem is I haven't been in a couple years because of just different reasons, man. I can't even get into it. But I remember when I first saw it, I think I saw the first issue. This could have been 4 years ago, something like that. And I thought, no thanks. It doesn't look very interesting to me. But then she really took off, and
Yeah, and I think the no thanks first reaction is unfortunately common in a lot of comics these days. Even when they rebooted DC in the New 52, I was kind of like pass. I didn't like the design they did on Superman. I didn't like the stories they were telling, and I don't know. It just seems like all of our entertainment is being hijacked by one group or another.
Speaking of hijack, sorry about that.
You're good.
Please go ahead, and I will speak of something that we need to focus on after it's done.
That's right. Shut up, man. My turn. Dude, no, man, I'm kidding. I was just going to say that, they come up with new ones. They come up with new characters. Here we are complaining, oh, you're not going to do this right. You're not doing that right. We're very frustrated. Now, take the SJW side out of it. We do want new characters. We do want them to come up with something new and interesting, of course. But if they come up with something and we don't like it, we should be able to say, well, it's, we just don't like it. And I think that's where the SJW stuff comes in. Sorry to interrupt you, Katarn. Go ahead, man.
Oh, no, it's not an interruption. Basically, this is turning the next page in the conversation. When I actually saw this, I physically felt ill, and I threw up a little bit of times. When I saw the article again, it made me want to have diarrhea, and I threw up at the same time. And when I saw it again, I started crying, and I started drinking, and I passed out, and I woke up, and when I saw it again, I basically set my laptop on fire. Guess what it is? So Brie Larson wants to be a Jedi, and basically she said that she wants to be a Jedi, and people are connecting this with Ryan Johnson, maybe putting her in the new trilogy that he's making. I'm happy. I want him to make it because I want to make content on it and basically make fun of him again because he failed once. We know he's going to fail again. So, could you guys imagine Ryan Johnson, Brie Larson as the protagonist in a new trilogy by Ryan Johnson? Just think, just imagine, just hope for it.
The only way that I would accept Brie Larson into a new Star Wars film is if she was playing a Sith.
Sorry, Sith are passionate. Brie Larson is a piece of wood.
Well, that's true.
I understand where you're coming from. Rant, where do you come in on this?
Can she be a backup character that just gets killed in the beginning?
She could be a droid. She would play a droid pretty well.
And that would be
she could be that droid's sister from Solo. She could be like a sister droid or something. And just
see now you're bringing sex into it, and she's gonna take offense to that. So yeah, she could play a sister.
Yeah,
as long as there's no white. As long as there's no white droids in there, right?
Wait a minute. Okay, maybe she could play the confused droid on what she really is.
Okay, and I've got this. That would be the first droid that Lando Calrissian lost his virginity to. Brie Larson droid.
Oh God.
Oh man.
No, we can't do that to Lando.
He's already.
But they did. So yeah.
Oh, I know. That's horrible. Yeah. And that just takes me to like my overall beef with Star Wars, not just the direction that they're going in now. So they're not just satisfied with ruining the future films. They have to go back and retcon the past and ruin what we have already established like 40 years ago. That's just I cannot accept that.
Well, they're telling you to.
Well, yeah, they can tell me all they want. I'm not going to bow to the mouse.
Feed it a very poisonous piece of cheese.
1 second. If I break out, if I fall off the channel, just give me a second. I'm coming right back. I'm just trying to post something specifically. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, man.
But yeah, I'm not going to buckle to Disney. I'm not going to buckle to these SJWs. I'm getting, stuff from on Twitter and YouTube and even emails and direct messages. I don't care. If they want to keep pressuring us, we'll just keep pushing right back to them. All we're doing is expressing our opinion. And it seems like they're only okay if you express the opinion that they agree with. You can't express any other opinion but that.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear what you said, but basically what I heard, according to the last things that you said, is basically fascism. That's what we're going through right now. SJWs are a form of neo-fascism. They call us neo-Nazis, but whatever. They're the ones that are the Nazis. They're the ones that are the fascists. Mm-hmm. And what is fascism? It is when you have to agree and comply with what they want you to comply with. And
exactly.
The latest example, Rotten Tomatoes. You cannot say, I'm not interested in watching Captain Marvel. You have to say, I want to see it, or you don't get to talk about it at all. You're excluded. And do you know what the beauty is? Why I believe it's going to fail, and I hope it does? Brie Larson doesn't realize that comic book movies, and especially Marvel comics, the main demographic are white males of all ages. And her attacking them is going to blow up in her face. And there are these people that are saying, I would eat my hat on Twitter. I would eat my hat if I saw Captain Marvel failing. And I'm like, well, you better spice that hat nicely, baby, because you're going to eat that hat, my friend. You're going to eat that up. Pucker up, bucko. You're going to eat a lot of hats.
Spices would matter. I mean, she's still just going to sit there and be like, it's filling my stomach. I feel no emotion.
Yeah, pretty much. And, I hope that Captain Marvel has the same fate as Solo. I saw a video. I forget who it was by. I've been watching so many videos lately, but it's the marketing on Captain Marvel with like the estimates on how much it's going to make. each time that they send them out. It's mirroring exactly what they did with Solo, and then Solo came out and just completely bombed.
It did, because all we had to see was that scene where Lando says, "Elsie, you need anything?" and she goes, "Equal rights." And
Big
yeah,
Steve is here. Sorry, guys. Big Steve is here. What's going on, Steve?
What's going on?
Sorry about that. I saw
Yo.
the fight. I didn't recognize who it came from. I thought it was somebody else. I know a different general, and I thought I don't really want to hang out. And then I realized a minute ago, like, wait, I'm supposed to be in here with Flip. That's probably from there.
What's
Yeah.
up, Big Steve?
I apologize for that. I was
No,
just
you're
sitting
good,
around
man.
here waiting and didn't really realize what I was waiting for.
Not a problem, my friend, and you should
You
know.
are
So
hilarious.
essentially, you were like stranger danger.
I wish I could do a General Grievous voice from the Clone Wars where it says, "Be cautious. When you see flipped out, you will see General Katarn not far behind." These things go hand in hand.
You guys are nuts. Good to have
Yeah.
you, man.
Hello, Big Steve.
All right.
Welcome officially to our stream. We're basically
thank you.
talking Captain Marvel and why she's trying to fail and we hope that she's going to fail. So, yeah. Want to catch up? Is there anything that you want to ask? Is there anything that you want to add? Please feel free. This is a last platform of freedom of speech.
I'm sorry. There was a few sounds going on. You said you were talking about who?
Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. Yeah, if you heard Lumber and Brie Larson, it's
yeah.
basically the same thing.
I hear about Brie Larson pretty much daily. She's a fun character.
She actually said she wants to be a Jedi, but that's not all there is to it. She said that's the whole article from really yesterday. Today, the official Star Wars Twitter responded to Brie Larson's quote about wanting to be a Jedi. They said, this is the official Star Wars Twitter saying this, and I quote, "The Force is definitely with you, Captain." Then she responded with, "Honored to be an intergalactic hero with you," smiley face. And the fans responded with, "I need to see Captain Marvel and Rey team up." And then another fan says, "Having written both Captain Marvel and Star Wars comics, I do hope we see you as a Jedi someday."
Oh God.
No, yeah, I remember that. The cringe is real with that one.
That is, yeah.
No, pass. Hard pass. Thank you, but no.
Nope.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We already have Ray in. We already have a brunette Ray. I don't think we need a blonde one.
I think that Brie Larson would make Ray less dislikable. That's how I'll put it. Because all my dislike will be going to Brie Larson.
Dude,
Ray
if
is
Brie
kind of
Larson were a
blank.
Jedi, if Brie Larson were a Jedi, it would make Rey like almost on Luke Skywalker's level if you compared the two. It would be that horrible.
Because Ray or Brie Larson, Daisy Ridley is oblivious to the whole situation. You know, she's listening to what the producers are telling her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Brie, she starts her own issues by running her mouth.
Exactly.
No, it's not her fault.
Give Daisy Ridley for it.
I think that it's Kevin Feige and Marvel that let her run her mouth. I mean, they stopped Mark Hamill giving negative comments to The Last Jedi. I mean, he started off very strong by voicing his disagreement, and then he basically made a tweet last night that made me cry. That said, "Hey, Ryan Johnson made a very good film, and you know that Disney warned him. It's like, hey, if you want an endorsement, you better shut up."
Yeah, pretty much. And if the rumors are true of George Lucas being back and working with the director, JJ, if he's working with JJ and Mark Hamill to help fix Luke, I think that's probably why Mark has wanted to stick around, just so that they could end Luke correctly.
Absolutely. Mark is the whole reason that I'm even still, wanting to see this train wreck.
Me too.
Me too.
I don't want to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for it. In fact, I intend to probably get busted trying to show everyone that I'm not paying for it. But and on film, I intend to record this. But
Flip, do not get busted, man. Don't get busted. Come on.
Not for her.
It is
Not
so.
for Brie
If
Larson.
it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's fine. But I'm going to see front row seats to this. I want to see this. But Mark, yeah, you're right. Absolutely the reason.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Mark is the only one left. If they wouldn't have tried to go down the path of taking one of the legacy characters out of, in each film, maybe, of course we would have to deal with the fact that Carrie unfortunately passed away tragically. And, but, if, say, Han Solo was still around, we would still have Luke and Han. And then we could send them off to their hero sunset and not necessarily have to kill them off.
Yeah, I have a good idea. Why don't each of us say our favorite scene from The Last Jedi? Starting with Big Steve. Last one here, first one to say.
Oh my goodness. No, I have not seen a scene I can say that about. I actually skipped the movie and I watched all the specific scenes, everybody talks about. Like I watched the snippets of everything, like the little fights and all the little stuff. So I've seen all everybody's favorite parts, but I haven't. The Force Awakens happened, and it did pique my interest, but I was very worried. And I said, all right, well, I'm not going to give them money unless I hear good stuff. And then The Last Jedi happened, and I heard a lot of bad stuff. I watched some videos, and I don't feel like hurting myself.
So, Steve, let me ask you, going into The Force Awakens and then versus The Last Jedi, was your excitement level much higher before you saw The Force Awakens as opposed to going into The Last Jedi?
So the Force Awakens, okay, well, to me, the whole thing is I just want to see Luke be a really big badass. That's like my favorite thing. And then, they should have had Billy D in it back in episode 7 or something, let him, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they could have done, but I wanted to see Luke go savage. And then they baited me. I felt like, well, they got Luke right on the front. He's all, they're showing Luke off. He's the big deal. And then he's the cliffhanger. And I'm like, okay, that was rude. I felt like it was rude. So I figured,
I felt like they were out of money.
Yeah, dude, I agree. When they released that initial promo art showing Luke as this large figure, kind of menacing figure, I thought they were going to go with the EU, where Luke had turned to the dark side, And if Luke would have been the big bad, I would have actually been okay with that.
I would love that. Yes.
Yeah. It would have been much better than this Luke that says, no, I don't want any part of it. Like, what? Okay, that's just not the Luke I remember.
I have a hard time not imagining, like, off the top of my head, a story that I can't think of one that wouldn't be better than what they delivered. Like, I'd have to purposely think of a terrible story to, I think, disappoint myself more.
Oh, yeah. The Last Jedi. There you go.
So no real favorite scene there, Steve.
No. Normally I'd pick a fight scene, but the you.
Yeah.
the throne room grossed me out, and the Luke Skywalker dance segment didn't appease me.
I think the one thing that people were wanting when they saw Luke Skywalker, at the very least, was this fantastic lightsaber scene.
Yes, and maybe some Force displays that aren't just, I don't know. Live stream. He live streamed to a different planet and then died of. He ran out of data.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to say a quick hello to Robert Willing, who just came into our chat. I really appreciate you stopping by, Robert. And counterpart General Grievous. If you guys know me in any game, Star Wars game, I am a huge General Grievous abuser. I just spam him on everything. So yeah.
If you don't mind, I want to say this. Robert Willing just put up a video, everybody. We went ahead and posted it on the FC Twitter, so do check that out, please.
Cool.
Yes, make sure to check out Robert Willing. He's pretty awesome. He does comic reviews, and He dives in pretty deep. Pretty awesome guy.
I'm gonna have to check that out, Robert.
Seconded.
So if we're still going on favorite scenes from The Last Jedi, if I had to absolutely pick, it would probably be the scene where Luke's projection hugs Leia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the end there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Can I
That's
say the
probably
credits?
the credits.
The
Yeah,
credits.
if you skip the part where it says written and directed by Ryan Johnson, yes.
Yeah, that's what Exaggeration Nation said in the comments. He said the end credits.
I had to.
Ray, what's your favorite scene?
Really, the end credits. I cannot say there is a scene. I mean, okay. The beginning of the opening crawl. When we get to read the story because we get to hear the music.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the only pure Star Wars we have left. The opening crawl.
Exactly. And the music that comes along with it. The the feeling you get when you hear the dun dun dun, dun like it's indescribable.
The only thing that's missing, and maybe they can put it back now since they've acquired the company, is the 20th Century Fox intro.
Oh, I missed that too, Sean. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's so true.
I know. Where did that go?
Yeah, well, Disney bought them.
Disney bought
Or
them.
maybe, we might get it again in the future.
Guys, we need to kick Angus out because he just said what would save Star Wars is Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
Well, you know what? At this point, I know we're grasping at straws, but yeah, bring me Darth Jar Jar. Let's see what they can do.
I think I could work with Darth Jar Jar. I think I can make that happen.
Yeah. Off his own tongue, right?
No,
Absolutely.
I would rather have Jar Jar just spewing his Jar Jar nonsense than having Rose Tico raping Finn and saying, "It's how we win the war, not by just killing what we hate, by saving what we love."
But that's my favorite. Okay, that's my favorite scene. I actually laughed pretty hard. I laughed pretty hard, so I owe him something for that one laugh.
Flip, and before you say anything, probably what my sarcastic reply to that would be. Just go ahead, give it away.
What? I'm not sure.
You know what my sarcastic reply would be to that question, what my favorite scene is, and you know what I would sarcastically reply to that.
Oh, okay, yes, and I will make mine quick so we can get to that. Mine is pretty easy because there was one good scene in the movie. It was where Luke is on the Falcon and R2 does the hologram of Leia. That kind of worked for me, actually.
Yeah, it did.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but that's the only part that was anything remotely to when I watched the trailer. I was like, oh wow, this part stood out to me. I was like, okay, cool, but no, it ended up being the only part I liked. Obviously, the credits were good, rant. And John Williams' music throughout. Hell, the whole fucking thing. The cinematography was beautiful.
As a matter of fact, The Last Jedi has one of the favorite scores that I've ever heard before. I mean, when you hear Rose's theme, it's so wonderful and so sad at the same time that John Williams composed that theme and wasted it on Rose,
Well, it goes to show you that John Williams is a genius no matter what crap that he's writing for.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that John Williams doesn't care what he's writing as long as he's good at what he does and gets his paycheck. He doesn't care about the story.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that John Williams is a little invested because he's been doing Star Wars for 40 years. I would, as a musician myself, if I were writing something for 40 years, I would be pretty invested in the property, but maybe not everybody's like that.
Yeah. Hey, well, maybe he's done so much more. So
yeah,
I guess that comes down to me. Flip, just give them the sarcastic reply that I would give, just to go to show you that Flip knows me that well.
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. I think it's gonna come off better with you, buddy.
Okay, so Flip knows this, and it's about time that everyone knows. But if I had to give a sarcastic SJW remark out, it would be Luke sucking on the green dinosaur titty milk. As a matter of fact, there's this skit where we did it with Flip that I told him that I'd do that. It was this cream soda flavored milkshake that was green in texture. So I said, "Hey, I have this in my possession. Want to do something with it?" And he said, "Oh yeah, sure." So I basically drank it.
I'll never make you drink the titty milk again, bro.
No, it wasn't you. I was controlled by aliens.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. So my favorite scene in The Last Jedi has to be when Yoda came onto screen. Now, I'm not talking about his appearance because it looked retarded. It's like Force Ghost age. My favorite scene, if you take the context purely for what it is Yoda because basically what he teaches is so real and is so true to his character, and that's why I liked it most in The Last Jedi. It's because Yoda had a scene, a very small scene, and basically he was more true to his character than basically anyone else in the original trilogy so far, than like Luke or Leia. And aside from Luke, Yoda just basically annihilating that tree with summoning force lightning out of thin air, what he had to say was so true when he said that the greatest teacher failure is and stuff. And if you take his message strictly as Yoda and you put it in any of the other films, it is something that I felt that Yoda would say in any other film. So yeah, I think that works for me. And then the rest of the movie happened, and I ran out of booze and I started crying again.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Anything with Yoda is probably going to rank my top 10, of the film. So yeah, I think they did Yoda well. I didn't have a problem with the recast they did of the puppet mold. I think it still looked like Yoda. So yeah, and of course it was still voiced by Frank Oz, which is always awesome.
Works.
Never mind. Sorry. I'm. Go ahead. My brain got lost there. Dude, seriously, like, I'm not really Flip. This is just Flip's body, so if he messes up, you guys gotta forgive us.
It's because Flip's body's been taken over by Ryan Johnson's Force Ghost.
What?
No.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Thank you, Sean. Damn it, I'm not a Force Ghost of Ryan Johnson.
He's back.
I do remember now. The thing about Yoda coming on screen was that they made him look aged. I think one of you just said that, right? But
yeah.
You can't make a Force Ghost age. That's the whole thing. Like, he's a fucking ghost.
That's one of the many things that Ryan Johnson broke in terms of continuity, man.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, actually. But yeah, you can't make a Force Ghost age.
Stig Johnson. He just said Ryan Johnson is a prostate ghost.
I resent that. Ryan Johnson's ghost resents that. Robert Willing did have a cool thing. He said that that the Yuzon Vong would fix Star Wars. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Which would fix Star Wars?
The Yuzon Vong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard a rumor that they were gonna maybe have some sort of implementations from it. At the moment, I'm taking every rumor with a grain of salt because I feel like they're trying to keep Star Wars buzz hype up as high as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just throwing rumors all over the place to keep us talking and thinking about it. But yeah, I don't know. I heard about it. I'm not sure what to believe anymore.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point. They're trying to keep Star Wars as hyped as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like when they said Mara Jade is going to be in it and stuff. Like, didn't they try to say Mara Jade was going to be in episode 9?
Yeah, I think I read that.
They did for quite a while.
But I don't think it was going to be the Mara Jade that we knew from the EU.
Oh, no. I mean, that's just like how we got Kyle Katarn without getting Kyle Katarn. We would get Mara Jade, but she would be, I don't know. Mara. She'd be called Mara Jadi or something.
Right.
Minnie Jeeden. Or Minnie Mouse in. I don't know. They
Yeah,
Disney
because
it up, though.
if Luke would have a wife, they would have alluded to that in maybe even episode 7, but surely episode 8.
I have a question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
And actually, we'll just start with you. It's for everybody. But so in Rebels, I don't know if you guys have all watched it. I watched from beginning to end. I didn't think it was that bad. The animation sucked. The Clone Wars was better as far as animation goes, but the storytelling was pretty good. At the end, they had, and this is speaking off of what Robert Willing said, and also in terms of what would make Star Wars better. But at the end, they had Ezra and Thrawn go flying off with these big hyperspace whales. I didn't find that really normal at all in the Star Wars universe, but it's what happened, and it's what happened. It's canon. So they flew off hyperspace. The windows were busted open. So in real canon, that would probably tear everyone to shreds. But I believe that they were making a statement there that we'd see them again. So Robert Willing brings up the Yuuzhan Vong, which also is tied to Thrawn and the Outer Rim. So,
he also brought that Kyle would save everything, Kyle Katarn, and yes, he's so right, because everything needs a bit of Katarn in it. And I'm not just saying it because it's my last name.
Okay, well, I'll give you Angus's email, and you guys can figure that out. But seriously, would bringing in Thrawn and the Yuuzhan Vong, would that do it? And if not, what would fix Star Wars?
I don't know. It's possible, but I think right now the only thing that I'm leaning towards, that could possibly fix Star Wars is if George Lucas is involved and if he is there specifically to fix Luke. Because really, I mean, no matter what else happens in Star Wars, the one thing that bugs me and will bug me most of all is how Luke was depicted in Episode 8.
Yes. Yeah.
And so say if everything else in Episode 9 goes to absolute shit, but they get Luke right, I'll walk away happy. I won't necessarily be engaged in any future films, but at least this will put to rest the Skywalker saga for me. And if they do it and do the character justice, then I'm fine.
Basically, that's the same thing for everyone, and we want to see Luke be restored to his, to his character. We want to see him respected. And speaking of respect, I want to say a big shout out to Sith Kryptonian, one of the founding fathers of the Fandom Collective. He reached and surpassed 1,000 subscribers yesterday. Huge congratulations. I want to say this on air, and I'm glad that he's in the comments right now. His content is amazing, and I believe that every single last sub, every last minute that people spend on watching his content is well deserved and well earned. So congratulations, Sith, and I hope that you keep on skyrocketing from there. And so that was the whole respect segment that I had to say.
Well, absolutely. Congratulations, Sith. His channel is absolutely fantastic. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a really fun stream last night. Even though,
he had Jeremy yesterday, which is very big for us. The Fandom Collective. We are basically a smaller version of the High Council, and he had Jeremy yesterday, which is a testament to how high he's reached and climbed into the whole YouTube thing, and he deserves it. He really does. And you guys, you should check him out. If you basically have subbed to me or know me, you basically know Sith. It's like a given up to this point.
Hey guys, if I could just interject, Katarn, we're gonna have a quick get together later this evening around 6 or 7, and I would urge all of you to check it out, the Founding Fathers. And I also want to say also to Sith, thanks for having me on last night, brother. That was amazing. And so definitely, guys, if you haven't subbed to him, sub up, and definitely go run by and say hey to him.
I would also like to say, Sith, we're not that nice, but you are welcome, bro. Seriously, though, congrats on getting that 1,000, Sith. You are awesome, bro. Like, seriously, congrats. And Anus, you suck.
Hey,
Oh man.
a little bit of hobo advice, Rant. A penis in the butt ain't nothing when it's cold outside.
Actually, I would rather pick being cold outside. I've slept outside on purpose. I've slept in the cold. I would rather be out in the cold. I can handle that.
Well, I guess I've been talking to Anus too much. My bad.
Well, I mean, exactly. This way's called Anus for a reason. He knows how to calm that area.
Oh.
Are you saying that he's a relaxed anus?
Yes, he's a very relaxed Anus. That's why it's so much fun to talk to.
Seriously, Angus, we're mostly kidding. Mostly.
No, Angus is actually one of the most sophisticated channels that I've seen because basically when he wants to talk about a whole topic, he will research and he will basically talk about something from the beginning of it. For example, if there's like an incursion or scandal or basically anything that has happened within a community, especially what affects us, he will basically fill in his viewers of what happened in the beginning. He won't like take for granted that okay, you've subbed to me, so you know what I'm talking about. He's basically structuring his videos in such a sense. And yeah, Angus is holding a gun to my head, and I'm basically reading the script that he wrote to me. So yeah, I'm just being blackmailed right now. No, anyway, he's he's very. I know that he's supportive. I know he's very protective of his bros because a week ago this stupid thing happened where this snowflake, basically just was giving me shit about me supporting Jeremy, and out of nowhere, my knight in shining armor, black armor, diverse armor, Angus, he came to my aid out of nowhere, and he used his diversity powers, and he basically scattered the fiend into the air.
Did he have a black horse as well?
Yes, of course, because he's an Angus of color.
All I could think of was, Martin Lawrence, the Black Knight. Yeah.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that.
Man, I haven't seen that forever. Oh, dude. Flip, you read my mind.
Right. With the Force, right?
Exactly.
All right, I'm done sucking off the founding fathers because I really, really need their praise.
Don't stop! Don't stop! Don't stop! Oh, I'm almost there. Damn it! Fuck.
Oh man. But seriously,
Typical. Always ends this way.
Yeah, well, you've never went all the way for me, So I just wanted to give you a taste of your own medicine. You know what it's like.
Fine. So what's the next subject? Oh, did everyone bring Star Wars facts?
Oh,
yes.
I actually brought one. Sorry. Did you guys know that Lando Calrissian lost his virginity to a gonk droid?
I did not.
Real fact?
I'm sorry. It was right there. I'm sorry. It was there. I had to say it. So go ahead. Maybe I might something.
Did you guys know? And you might know. I remember this being pretty publicized during before Attack of the Clones. But NSYNC almost had a cameo in Attack of the Clones.
Who?
Wow.
The boy band NSYNC. Justin Timberlake's old band.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
That's crazy.
It was apparently at the request of George Lucas's daughter, and then they were edited out in the final cut.
This isn't a fact, Sean. This is not a fact, but this kind of goes along with what you're saying. Do you guys remember a band out of the 90s called the Sneaker Pimps?
No.
No.
Okay,
But I'm going to have to look them up now.
I'm the oldest one. But yeah, so the Sneaker Pimps, George Lucas's daughter wanted them to have a song in The Phantom Menace. They only had one hit.
So his daughter is to blame for possibly everything wrong in the prequels.
Well, yeah, I think I think I've seen him in interviews say like, you know, he put I think Jar Jar in for his daughter, and he put you know stuff in for his kids, and like because he thought that's what his kids would like. So yeah, I'm gonna blame his kids.
Well, did you guys know? And I don't know if this is an absolute fact or not, but I have read this on multiple occasions. But in a story development session for Return of the Jedi, George Lucas actually toyed with the idea that after Luke removed Vader's helmet, he put it on and proclaims, "Now I am Vader,"
Yeah.
and turns to the dark side.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
what he
that's-
wanted to do. That'd have been
What Gary
great.
Kurtz wanted.
I
That's
wish
what-
he would have done that.
That'd have been awesome.
Yeah.
True.
But you know, I think we would have had to have more than one movie to flesh that out. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I think we would have to have like a trilogy directly after that to kind of delve into that story and do the redemption arc like Vader had, and even if there is one, or if there was no redemption arc, you'd have to have the final act of that character.
That would have been freaking awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I think it'd have been I mean, obviously more is better, but I think it'd have been a fun place to just kind of.
Oh, so
Just
I guess that would have made a
wham.
good cliffhanger, right? If they would have done,
Just-
if that would have been
just
like the
slam
final
it
word
there.
spoken.
Because then because then it makes what's in the future it's all up to your imagination. It's like, well, it kind of go anywhere from here. You're not pointed in any direction.
So if you look at this, from where we are now, if they would have said, in Return of the Jedi, the last word spoken would have been "I am Vader," and then you just cut to credits and you go into Episode 7, that would have given us a completely direction for the new trilogy, and maybe it wouldn't be nearly as bad.
30 years later, that'd be crazy. I wouldn't know what to expect. I mean, I guess I didn't know what to expect with The Force Awakens, but what they gave me was not tasty.
It was like a steak, but it was super burnt with like old brie cheese on it or something.
I like Brie cheese. I like Brie Larson. I like wood. Oh my god, that was so wrong.
Wow.
Guys, it's not Beef Larson. It's Beef Larson, remember? It's Beef. She's supposed to be the strongest Avenger. Give her her deserved title. It's Beef Larson. Beefcake.
Dude, if she's the one that ends up delivering the final knockout punch at Thanos, I'm going to be pissed.
Me too, man.
Of course. I mean, who the hell needs her doing it? Like, get out. Like, what I can't stand is they're saying that she's supposed to be the strongest Avenger. Now, I don't know about her in the comics, but I've heard online, about some things that Hulk has done. He can lift up an entire planet if he wants to. He can destroy a planet. Now, if Captain Marvel can do anything close to that, then they could try to say that, but otherwise they need to stop that.
But Rand, you don't understand why Hulk can do that. You see, it's because of his toxic masculinity. That's why.
I thought you were gonna end up saying gamma radiation or something, but then there you go again, tricking me. Like, see,
No, it's toxic masculinity. You see, guys,
Yeah.
I've respected women 9 out of 10 times, and when I do 10 out of 10, I get this coupon where I get a lady touch my special part.
What?
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Aware of such
Yeah,
coupons.
and she promised me that if I do so, she would give me 2 extra bottles of soy that I need for the month for my coffee.
Nice.
Wow.
Yes. And she said that it
Congrats.
would last for a whole song.
I think in given what you're just saying, I'm going to introduce one of my facts because this is perfect. You've set it up nicely. Did you know in the Phantom Menace, I almost called it the Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn used a Gillette Ladies Sensor XL razor for his communicator.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that. I was actually looking at my dad's razor to see what it was the same thing when I found out. But I didn't know it was Yeah, I was actually looking at my dad's razors because I didn't know it was a woman's razor. And, I kind of found that there was a correlation between the models, and that was in the late 90s. And I heard that, in 2002, when Attack of the Clones was about to be released, he improvised that scene very well and basically became those transmitters that you see in the Clone Wars, for example, and it worked for the fans. And I thought that, hey, this makes sense. And when I looked at the old razors that my dad had, it wasn't the female ones, uh, because the only one that I knew at the time that was shaving was my dad, because my mom used to wax her legs off. But anyway, too many personal information about my parents. But anyway, but the thing is that I wanted to see if there was a correlation, and if my dad wasn't full of toxic masculinity, I would have been right.
Well, true.
Yeah.
It's good to hear your dad was toxic masculine.
Yeah, I was abused because of his masculinity. Just him standing there using a male's razor. I mean, he could have used a female's razor, to respect women, but he didn't.
This has
Yeah.
to
Wow. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I got out of the Disney Star Wars is I've learned to respect women a lot more. I used to probably respect them on average 0 to 3 times, but I made a New Year's resolution. I've been respecting them five times a day. Five
Five times a
and
day.
I make sure I go out of my way and I show them I do at least 5 respects. How many have you guys been making sure to do your daily respects? Or did you learn nothing from the movie as well? Are you going to continue in your toxic masculine ways?
Yes, I
I told
am.
you I have 9 out of 10, and when I do, she's going to touch my special pee-pee part.
I've almost got my chastity belt off.
Oh,
I
she
still have
doesn't.
mine on. I respect that much. Okay,
Yeah,
I have not taken mine off since Beef Larson came into the scene. Like ever since I saw her, I was all like, "Oh wow, slip on, lock on tight." Yep. And I'm not sure if I threw the key or swallowed it. I can't remember.
I took it off, and when I saw Brie Larson, I put it back on because I had to respect women even more.
I just put mine back on because I didn't want Beef Larson to touch anything down there.
She wouldn't. She wouldn't trust me. She doesn't know what it is. She'd be like, "Oh my god, that's a penis. It's toxic. I can't touch it."
Yeah, I know, right?
Beef
Also, it's
Larson.
white.
It would
Oh,
burn her, porcelain skin, man.
that's white people problems. I'm Mediterranean. I'm Caucasian. I'm a mix between brown or I don't know. I'm basically like Lebanese. We're not completely white or black or brown. We're basically in the middle. So yeah, I think Brie would give me a touch as soon as I get that coupon. As soon as
I mean,
get
if that's
those
what you
coupons.
want, I guess.
Right.
But that brings me to my next question. Why does a white woman hate white people so much?
Guilt.
It's a publicity stunt.
Yeah, publicity stunt. I agree, Katarn.
So you think this is publicity and she doesn't actually believe what she's saying? Because I think she believes what she's saying.
She believes what she's saying because it's the norm now to hate white people. If they were hating like, let's say, brown people today for whatever reason, everyone would be hating like Indian or Pakistanese guys. Okay, it has nothing to do with white privilege. It has to do nothing with race. It has to do with the norm of the times. The norm of the
I believe
times.
she had intent, Katarn. I believe she had intent. I don't think she's got the wherewithal to understand. She's been grown up. This woman's never done a hard day's work in her life. There's no way.
She's been instructed, Philip. I believe that she's been instructed. She was instructed, and she wasn't silenced by Kevin Feige, by Marvel, by anyone. Okay, because like I said, Mark Hamill was silenced to shut up about bashing The Last Jedi, which means Disney has a voice, which means Disney can tell their actors that promote their product to do what they have to do. And they didn't shut Brie Larson up. So that means that they're okay with this agenda. No problem. I'm okay with not paying to go and see Captain Marvel. I'm more than proud to not watch this movie, although I would love to watch it and review it and see it tank down, but it would be more than enough for me to make content based off Rotten Tomato stats or potato stats, whatever it is, to watch it tank. And it will. It will. I believe it.
Sean, I don't think that see, Hollywood is sort of an elitist thing. Like a lot of them, I watch some really strange stuff sometimes because I'm just weird like that. Like I get off on other tangents where I'm watching stuff about Hollywood and the inside stuff and how they're like 90% of them are like rapists and pedophiles and just all kind of, you know, Illuminati weirdness. But I don't
I
watch it
believe
because
that.
I'm ready to. Yeah, I mean, to a degree that, you know, I'm sure that they have. Somebody said, and I can't remember who said this, Anonymous X said that Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, directed by Stanley Kubrick, was a very good representation of how Hollywood does certain things. Like they'll have parties very similar to that. As a matter of fact, one young lady, a prostitute, was asked to come to a party, and after having not had masks on the actors and actresses that were there,
Wait, how did
she
you know about
threatened.
that?
You've heard about this? So yeah, they threatened. She threatened to talk
No,
about it.
I'm
Just
sorry, Flip. The thing is that it was a part-time job. I didn't know that it would explode into something that big. I was just in it for the money. I was broke.
oh, yeah. Anyway, the
Okay, I'm
actress
sorry.
showed up.
I'm sorry. It
They,
was a dick move. Please continue.
you're good, man. That's fun. But the actress ended up dead this week due to apparent drug overdose. So I believe, and the reason I say this all is to say that Brie Larson, no matter where she was born into it or adopted into it, has never worked a hard day's work in her life. And these people tell her what to do, when to do. And I think in this exact same panel, we just discussed how the, you know, they know what they're doing. It's an agenda-driven scheduled agenda or whatever. It's agenda-driven. We agree. But I think she's been placed into a situation and told to say something. And she herself, if you watch her say that quote, you know, I don't need no 40-year-old white dudes watching, you know, A Wrinkle in Time because whatever. She looks like she's nervous to say it. I'm not backing her up like, well, she didn't know she was saying it. She had intent to say it. But I think she believes the church of the Hollywood because she's in it. And if they say
I
this
agree.
is the way it is, you know.
Yeah, because Hollywood has been like every other organization, political party, and entertainment field. Hollywood itself has been hijacked by something, you know. And if it's not the SJWs, it's something else, you know, and on and on and on. You know, nothing is pure anymore.
No, and most of them are agnostic or what's the word? I can't think of it right now. You know, they don't believe in God. They're non-religious. They're
Atheistic. Yeah,
atheists. Thank you. And some are actually Wiccan and so forth. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. Speaking of that, have you guys seen the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix?
No.
Apparently, I read the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it goes to your point, Flip. They hired people onto the show, like the production and the writing and everything else, that were actual Wiccans, so the show could be authentic. And so they ended up showing like the statue, I guess, that was at the Satanic Church, and the show and Netflix were sued for, I think it was for $50 million by the Church of Satan or whatever it's called, and
Yes.
they won the suit and got $50 million from Netflix just from showing that statue. But how many times has a crucifix been shown in a movie since the dawn of cinema, or something of Jewish descent or Islam or what have you? There has been no lawsuits on any of that. They can do what they want of anything but that, and that's just ridiculous.
I saw that too, Sean. I saw that whatever video it is you're talking about. I saw it too. I can't remember the name, but there was one movie. It was sort of a kids movie. God, it was like a magic or something like that. There's like, what'd they say? There's like, I don't know, 15 pentagrams in the movie, but you'd never know it unless you focused on it. That's so insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. Some things I've noticed just rewatching some stuff where you could actually, I don't know if it's, you know, by design or just by complete coincidence, but I mean, you can notice like patterns of like pentagrams and other things in a lot of Hollywood productions. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because I think we've all probably watched Star Wars more than once. So,
yeah.
You know, about the 1,000th time you're watching it, you start looking in the background to see like what little tiny thing did I miss, you know, and you watch the whole movie realizing that I didn't even watch the people anymore. I'm watching the background. If you tell yourself to focus on certain movies and look around the people and kind of listen loosely, yeah, you do see those things. It's the weirdest experience.
Oh, quick shout out to those two bald guys, and the rookie critic, and he said he just got off work. I mean, okay, whatever works for you, buddy, but please keep your preferences to yourself, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
James Clark
that
is also in the chat. What's up, James?
James Clark, my man.
James
How you
Clark.
doing, man?
I'm sorry,
Well,
chat. I don't have the chat open. I'm rude.
Wait, James. I want to ask this to James, and I want him to respond in the comments. I don't know if I've got this right or if I was drunk off my ass because there are a lot of people I know by the name of James on Twitter. Are you involved in art? Do you do artwork? Please respond to me so I don't get ridiculed publicly. But yeah, since I said I was drunk, yeah, pretty much did that already. Anyway,
Well, Katan, James doesn't have a Twitter.
oh, he doesn't. But
No.
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 Hey,
No.
hey,
No,
James,
really,
please,
messages through Gmail.
please start a Twitter, man, because it's really good to advertise your channel, and I know you're selling paintings and such. So also, whenever I post your stuff, I can never find it, so that definitely would help you to see your stuff, bro. In fact, I encourage everyone who doesn't have a Twitter, please at least just get a basic one or something, you know.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Flip. I think Twitter is a good tool for anyone who has something to advertise.
Sure. Oh, and we still are on facts. So who's the next person to give a Star Wars fact?
Okay, I have a fact.
Okay.
Did you guys know that Anakin Skywalker's first lightsaber was actually Qui-Gon Jinn's from the Phantom Menace?
I did not, but that actually makes sense.
Well, basically, it was given to Anakin by Obi-Wan during their first, sessions of training because, Obi-Wan had built his Episode 2 lightsaber, which is identical to Episode 1. The reason I know this is because I'm a lightsaber maniac and I build these, and I know every character's lightsaber from every movie ever. And the Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace lightsaber of Obi-Wan is the same, and it changes in Revenge of the Sith, where it is the counterpart to the one that he has in A New Hope, which is more stylish, according to me. But anyway, personal preferences aside, he gave Anakin Qui-Gon's lightsaber, and it ties in so well because it was issued in the comic Age of Republic. And basically, what this shows is that Anakin, despite being a Padawan to Obi-Wan and knowing him more than he knew Qui-Gon eventually because Qui-Gon died, he resented the fact that Qui-Gon died and he wanted Qui-Gon to be his master instead of Obi-Wan. And the fact that he got his lightsaber was something that, cheered him up during the time that Qui-Gon had died. And if you all know, if obviously you all know, Qui-Gon's lightsaber was green, which was the indication of a Jedi Consular, which means green lightsaber, strong in the Force, which also means that Anakin was strong in the Force. That acts as symbolism to him being, powerful. Now the blue lightsaber that Anakin has in both Attack of the Clones and what's it called, throughout the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, is to tie into continuity, because I believe that if the whole Jedi Consular lore had been explained in the original trilogy, Anakin's lightsaber would have already been green. But we all know that Luke Skywalker had a green lightsaber in Return of the Jedi to contrast with the already sunny background of Tatooine, so that it could work well in action scenes. And then George Lucas said, okay, let's make it green. And then a few years later, it was expanded. Hey, green is the consular color. And we know that Anakin Skywalker is very powerful in the Force. So that's why he has blue lightsabers, because basically the whole continuity was not connected yet. It's connected years later. And so the comic Age of Republic wanted to close this full circle by giving Anakin symbolically Qui-Gon's lightsaber to symbolize that, hey, first lightsaber, green, consular green, which means powerful in the Force. And I think that it ties beautifully and poetically in the Force. and in Star Wars lore for Anakin Skywalker. Okay, you guys go.
Insane. No, I didn't know all of that. That's actually really cool. Maybe you would know, General, but I've read and I've heard that similar to Doctor Who, like the new Doctors, they build their own. Oh Jesus, the sonic screwdriver. I've heard that Jedi's they sometimes in the past have built their own lightsaber. Is there any truth to that?
So, wait, please repeat the question because you
Sure.
kind of broke up a little bit.
Okay, sure. I've read and I've heard over the years that much like in Doctor Who, the new incarnations of the Doctors, they build their own sonic screwdrivers. I've also read that Jedi's can build their own lightsabers. Do they, to your knowledge, is that true?
Well, basically they do in the Clone Wars TV series. I don't know if you've seen it, but basically it's become my Bible. There's an episode where Ahsoka is guiding or escorting this group of Padawans where they're supposed to go to planet Ilum and gather the crystals. And when they do so, eventually they start building their own lightsabers, and it's a very intricate procedure because they have to get it right. So yes, lightsaber, Jedi do build their own lightsabers, and the crystals are initially colorless according to new Disney canon, which is the only thing that works so far. So yes, the crystals are already colorless, and according to the Jedi's emotions and strength from the Force, or basically what they do represent in the Jedi Order, that's what the coloration of their crystals are. So that's another explanation to Anakin Skywalker being blue, because he was like a warrior. So he basically was more in tune with his physical attributes as a warrior than his Force attributes as a Jedi. That didn't neglect his powers, however. But that's just another in-universe, explanation as to why Anakin Skywalker was blue instead of green. We never see this on screen, obviously, and that's what people want to see. So, yeah, Jedi can build their own lightsabers, and according to the color, it represents their state and how they imprint their crystals. And yes, there have been instances where Jedi imprint their crystals in being clear, white, even yellow, and even purple in the case of Master Windu.
That's cool. I didn't know all that. I haven't, full disclosure, I have not finished watching Clone Wars yet. Or I'm not Clone Wars, but yeah, it's
Rebels?
Clone Wars, right? Rebel. No. Yeah. I haven't finished watching it yet. I do have it on a streaming service. It's just when I found out I had started watching it, and then I found out that it had been canceled, and I was like, well, what's the point? And now I know it's coming back, so I'm going to probably finish it up because there's something else to watch.
It's so worth it because what they have to show on the show, basically, Dave Filoni has put so much here into the series. It's not just the clones, it's not just the Jedi. It's basically what's going on galaxy-wide. He'll give you an expansion of what piracy was at the time, what the Trade Federation was at the time, giving you heroes on both sides, villainizing the Republic, making the separatists be heroes in some cases where you could actually find characters that you could find sympathetic. It has everything in just 6 seasons, and if it wasn't rushed to be canceled so that they could make Rebels, I believe that the Clone Wars could have already been finished. By now, we could have still had seasons. I did believe at the time that we would get a season 10 of the Clone Wars because there's so many stories to tell. But it is worth your time, and I'm telling you so the entire panel and comment section. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars, it's not a kids show. Trust me, it's not for kids. It's not for babies. It's not, a kiddies show. But yeah, so
You're definitely right. It's not just for kids.
it definitely isn't. I mean, like Dave Filoni took Greedo's character and implemented him as a bounty hunter, and kind of makes him work. He is kind of a goof in the series, but it doesn't make him look like a total idiot. He's a goof. He succeeds. He learns. He loves. He fails.
Filoni's actually great. He has a great handle on Star Wars, and that's who I kind of, somebody like that is who I want at the top of Lucasfilm.
Well, that's a debate that everyone has up to now, but Dave Filoni is kind of scared to be the front man after the backlash
Sure.
and everything, and it's a smart thing to do on his part because he wants this thing to kind of die down. And when Kathleen Kennedy steps down, I do believe, or I'm at least hoping that he will be the guy that, hey, just says, hey, I'm gonna take care of Lucasfilm, and I do believe that to his surprise, fans will be overwhelmed because Rebels came out as a filler for the Clone Wars, and it was completely marketed for kids, so that Disney could sell merchant toys. And then Dave Filoni stepped up, and he just basically cracked his backbone, and he said, "Okay, you know what? Okay, now I flexed, I stretched. Now let me make a good story for fans to relate to." And then you got season 2, and 3, and 4, which was fantastic. Okay, I mean, you got Kanan Jarrus that got a better send off than Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. And that to me tells me that, hey, you have two creative minds that think very differently from one another. One gets Star Wars and one gets peanuts. Guess who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Well-
Sean.
What's up?
I know I said it real quick earlier. It sounded like I dismissed you, but I really do appreciate you backing me up on the Twitter thing.
Oh, sure.
Also wanted to give out another interesting fact, if that's okay. Apparently, Han Solo was a strong contender to be the actor for Han Solo was Burt Reynolds, but also Christopher Walken. Great
What?
shot, kid. Yeah, great shot, kid. Just don't get cocky. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would have been awesome.
Christopher Walken. Wow. Whoa.
You got Rant. Do a quote like what's a quote, Han Solo? I can't think of any. Just that great shot one.
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. Don't do that. I can't do it very well.
And that's actually pretty good. That would have made Han Solo completely different.
Oh yeah.
Yep. They also had. Oh my God, who was it? Who was the guy who played in Stargate? Come on, God, he's married to Goldie Hawn. My brain is not working.
Oh, Kurt Russell.
Yeah, he was the number one. It was down to him and Harrison Ford.
Oh wow.
And actually, they picked Kurt Russell, but he had a prior. At that time, he had just picked for another movie. I don't remember which, but man, we were super close to having Kurt Russell.
That
would have been interesting. Hey, Flip. Here's a line. You could say is Christopher Walken. Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Oh God. All right, hold on. Hokey religions. Hold on, that's not right. Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid. Something like that. That's bad.
That would have been just pure comedic timing gold. I would support Christopher Walken as Han Solo even today.
You got to see him in your head. Yeah, me too, man. Even today, like you got to see him in your head when you hear the voice. Like I can't nail him. He's one of the toughest ones to. I mean, God, it's a tough one to do right there.
Yeah, I love Christopher Walken though. I mean, just the way he delivers his lines, it's awesome.
And so, Click, yeah, when he was in Click and he was in Bed Bath and the that's priceless. Oh, you need something new, or God, I'm gonna stop doing it, man. I can't do them. Yeah,
no, you're actually doing a pretty good job, much better than I could do. But yeah. Oh, jeez. What we could have had, in a lot of casting choices. Yeah, but I'm good with Harrison Ford. I just wish Harrison Ford would have been more open to future Han Solo adventures.
Yeah,
Or did he send his doppelganger in Gruber, that kid?
Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, he should have brought that doppelganger in Gruber. He looks so much alike him.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
We think alike.
The problem with Harrison Ford is that he wanted Han to be killed off after episode 6. Yeah. So he did 7, or no, I'm sorry. No, episode 4. He wanted Han Solo killed off after the way that they did this, and the numbering of the movies, and they started 4, 5, and 6 before 1, 2, and 3. It just sometimes it confuses me. But he wanted to be killed off after episode 4, so he did episode 5 and 6 begrudgingly, and only came back for 7, for a paycheck.
That's right. And he actually wanted to be in Star Wars. There was some sort of a what was it? There was some sort of a door issue in the studio or whatever, and so he asked whoever was there, "Hey, do you mind if I come by and fix this?" And he happened to know Lucas would be coming into the studio that day, so he was fixing the door when Lucas walked in, conveniently quotes, and somehow convinced him to let him. And it's funny, Lucas ended up choosing him to just, instead of having the part, he would run lines with Mark Hamill, to see, because he thought, oh, well, Mark Hamill's a good choice, but I want to run lines with him. And then Harrison Ford was disappointed that he wasn't getting the part. But then I don't remember what happened, but ultimately, obviously, he ended up with the part. But then he wanted to be killed off because he didn't like the character? That's so weird.
Yeah.
To go through all that effort.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't like the direction that the character was taking, but I mean, Han was Han from the beginning to the end. I mean, there was no change. Harrison Ford doesn't really have a whole lot of. I mean, I'm not going to say he's not a good actor. He just doesn't have a whole lot of range in his delivery. I mean, he plays the character the same.
Hey, Katarn.
I guess so.
It sounded like your whole shelving unit fell just there.
Yeah, because when you talk about my Han Solo, my whole world collapsed, and that's what you heard. You hurt my feelings, all of you, bigots.
It's okay. Just as long as you don't cry, SJW tears will be okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to drink my soy right now.
Anybody else with some interesting facts? Steve, Rant?
Oh yeah. Lord Vitiate in Latin apparently means having been corrupted, defiled, or avoided. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Lord Vitiate. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I told you I wanted to look something up on Vitiate.
Good choice. That's EU stuff, man.
Yeah. It works.
So what do you guys think about the EU then? I mean, that's stuff.
Speaking of EU, I'd like to tell you guys a fact about the EU that ties in with The Last Jedi, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Did you guys know that Luke Skywalker did in the, I believe, book or comic? I'm not sure. The comments can correct me if I'm wrong. But Luke Skywalker kind of fell to the dark side, and it was up to Mara Jade to, snap him back to his senses. And apparently, Luke Skywalker used the dark side projection ability, and according to the EU, he used the force projection just like he did in The Last Jedi, but it wasn't him to the dark side. And not only was he able to interact physically with objects and other people, that never took a physical toll on his health and his body.
Well, so that just lends more to the theory that in episode 8, Luke was a gray Jedi, because gray Jedis can harness both light and dark, if I remember correctly.
He was a soy Jedi. Gray Jedis are awesome. Take Ahsoka, for example.
Yeah, but, with the force projection, that's why I don't think Luke is dead. Like we said earlier on, his metal hand didn't drop off. So I really don't think he's dead. And like you guys pointed out earlier, that was probably due to not knowing the story very well by Rian Johnson. And it probably was not intentional, but that gives JJ something, welcome that he could actually play with to retcon the issues that just are all over episode 8.
Oh, heard that. So, Katarn, I've got to get going here. I'm so sorry, guys.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. Hey, Sean, thanks for coming by. Big Steve, of course. Thanks both of you guys.
Oh yeah, thanks for.
Oh sure.
Yeah,
See
and
ya,
you're as far as I know, Katarn is definitely going to be wanting you guys back. So don't be strangers. I'd have you on myself, but the only reason I do single person streams is because every time I try to have people on, it locks up my screen and then we lose the whole thing. So, but I'm moving in May, so that will change, and you guys will always be welcome with anything I'm doing. I think you guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thanks for having
Well,
me.
thanks, Flip.
Oh, love
You're
you,
awesome,
Flip.
All right, later.
We love you, Flip.
Later, Flip.
Later, bro. To justify Flip and myself, actually, we're both in the process of upgrading our hardware and software and everything. You know, Flip is he just recently got a new job and stuff, and things are working out perfectly fine because he's able to support his family, move on to a new place, and I'm interviewing for this job that basically.
General.
Oh, he got muted. General went mute. See the mute?
Oh no.
Sorry
We
about
love
that. Soy boys are trying to mute my voice, but I shall not be silenced. Oh, sorry about that. I was saying that I'm basically interviewing for a job that could set me up for the next 2 or 5 years at least. And if that happens, that's awesome. That means I get my own space again because I'm currently living with my parents. And you know, living with your parents does have its limitations as well as its perks. And I want to produce more, you know, good content for you guys to enjoy. And I see that I'm getting new subscribers in like every second day. I get like 1 or 2 subscribers, and I want to give them a reason to stay. So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
I
awesome.
guess I wasn't subscribed, so you might get a notification saying I just subbed because I hit that sub and I got my chat up a minute ago.
I will not. Let me just check because oh yeah, Big Steve subscribe to your channel. Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I really should return that sub because you know, camaraderie and all, it goes a long way, and people really underestimate the value of camaraderie.
Yeah, I'm mostly into this just for the hangouts. You know, I really like hanging out with people with similar interests. I'm sure you guys have had similar experiences in where, you know, you're interested in stuff, but everybody around you isn't really interested, or you know, or you're very real angry about, you know, like people think I'm crazy for being angry about these SJWs or Star Wars or what. Like, why do you care? It's like, I care because I care. Does anybody else care? And then you know, there's great people online, you know, feel the same way. It's great. Fills a hole in my life that, you know, I can't find a lot of fans, you know.
So I
Star
understand
Wars.
where you're coming from, man.
But right here on the internet, you know, is people way more knowledgeable than me. So perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of messed up. You know, they label us trolls and toxic males, and they say that we're the problem with the fan base. But all we want to do is find people who love Star Wars and talk about it. That's all we want.
Yeah, we are the best fans, you know. So obviously we're we're the biggest fans, so we make the most noise when they mess up. Like,
Exactly.
if you're not a fan, then you're not going to care. I got family members that just are like, well, who cares? It's like, well, I don't know.
Well,
What's some of your favorite stuff? Let me start messing with that.
well,
Exactly, right? I mean, my dad
Yeah.
showed me Star Wars, and he doesn't really care much about what's going on. You know how much that broke my heart.
Yeah, and what these people don't get is that for the majority of us, we've been invested in Star Wars our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, to see the franchise going the direction that it's going, you know, well, that's like it's kind of like your life's work, but, you know, you've been invested in something since you're a little kid, you know, so you don't want to see something like that go this direction.
well, it's not only as a kid. I believe that I speak for everyone that the majority of us grew up as a kid and then into our preteens and in our early teens and then our young adult life, and basically raised by this ideology that is Star Wars, and then we see it fail at a time where we saw a lot of other franchises fail, and we thought to ourselves, "Hey, Star Wars is indestructible; it won't fail. It doesn't have its flaws, but there won't be that much backlash." And here we are. To people thinking that we're happy about this, I don't. It could be one in a million chance that someone is watching this right now, and if I ever had a chance to speak to these people that are against us, I'd like to say this as a disclaimer, and I believe that I speak for all of us, that we don't want to see our franchise fail. We don't want to see it the way it is. And they would say to us, okay, then why are you giving this so much shit? Why are you crying over a movie? And quote, when they have no other arguments, like, you're just basically complaining over a movie. And basically, they're just trying to make us look dumb. When we know it's not just about a movie, okay? It's just about policy agendas and all that stuff. So we don't want to see this way because we know what it is to. We know what respect is. We know what good characters are. We know what good people are like, and we know what it is to be involved in something that is great that unites people. And that's what Star Wars used to represent. It used to represent unity, not just good characters and a good story. It's not just a fairy tale that you tell your kid to before it goes to sleep. It is much more than that. And these SJWs, when you actually address to them, they have this stupid argument and they call you out and they say, you're a crybaby or a man baby or this or that. And then you say, okay, you know what? I disagree, for example, with Ray because he did this, and that. And how do you plead for that? How do you defend this? And the response, they've lost. I told this to Flip, and you'll know this. You've probably experienced this, and this is the definitive answer. Whenever an SJW responds to you by changing the conversation completely, especially when you ask the question, okay, what do you think of this, or what would you do about that? And they deviate from that conversation with a sarcastic, stupid, unrelated reply to your previous question, you've won because they don't have a response. And like this retard now that says that, hey, you haven't watched Star Wars and you haven't watched The Last Jedi deeply, he's right. I haven't watched The Last Jedi deeply, and that's why I get to keep my majority of brain cells intact, because if I do so, yeah, Star Wars is so much more. It's not just an ideology, it's a way of life. It shaped everyone's moral compass. I loved it. And the fact that we see it being in this detriment, and it is right now, is something that we don't appreciate. I don't. I know I don't.
I don't either.
It's just, it's like getting constantly slapped in the face. Except your face doesn't go numb.
Yeah, it's like, guys, I'm going to take this to a personal level. Like you mentioned that you had a person that you really appreciated and respected, like maybe even a family member. How would you guys feel in the future that, let's say, someone that was doing successful in life, or someone that you respected became like an alcoholic or a drunk, or someone that went to prison and did all the stupid, crazy shit because they overused some substances, or basically just snapped and basically went downhill from where they were? What would you do?
Well, yeah, you would. First of all, you wouldn't stop loving them. You would do whatever you had to do, within your power to try to correct the course. And I think that's what we're doing as fans. All we have is our voice that we can try to correct this course with. But, in that situation, we would try everything that we could possibly do, physically, mentally, and so on.
Yeah. You're wrong. You're not wrong at all.
It's really up to us, like to kind of, we have the responsibility of throwing this fit sometimes, because I don't know how, like a lot of people, this is their kind of their entryway into SJWs. Like I kind of got my teeth cut over, starting 10 years ago in the build up to Gamergate, and then the actual explosion. And so when I see SJWs latch on, I pretty much know what that means. That's why I saw The Force Awakens, but I was expecting Luke and they didn't do it. And then I was quick to withhold money because I know who the enemy, it's like, well, if they're, I know what they do, and they will occasionally put out some good movies. They can put out good movies. That's the worst thing, is they can, but they just choose not to. and then they run stuff into the ground and dance into the sunset to do it to something else.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I'm sure we all had memories as kids sitting around watching Star Wars. You know, I guess I really like the Ewoks a lot. I remember watching the third one. Well, I guess episode 6, but as I called it as a kid, the third one. You know, I remember watching that one all the time, and I made it through the prequels, you know, and the Phantom Menace. That one kind of bugged me, but you know, I made it through them, and I felt like even though there was a lot to nitpick, they definitely still added to it. The Force Awakens, it just left me in the state of like, all right, well, deliver or just stop. And if they won't stop, I'll make it stop by just not viewing it. And that's sad to be in that place where, you know, people ask, how did you not watch it? It's like, well, I've seen a lot of this. I've seen plenty of the skits. It's rare you'll bring something up I didn't kind of watch, but I did not sit down and watch it in its entirety. Didn't purchase it. No movie ticket. No nothing. The only thing they have to run out of money before they quit.
Pretty much. And I wish they would run out of money at this point, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm looking at the clock. I've got to jump and prepare for a stream I'm doing a little bit later. But I want to thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been a blast.
Oh, of course. But Sean, before you go, I need you to do me a favor, okay?
Sure.
Say a Star Wars quote, but replace one of the words with the word sausage.
Oh no.
Let's see. You know, sometimes I amaze my sausage. Well, actually, I think it's, you know, sometimes I even amaze my sausage. And of course, that is, you know, sometimes I amaze even myself from Han Solo.
Nice one, bro.
Yes, but thank you again, guys, for having me on. I would love to come back anytime you guys would like me to have me.
Awesome.
It's been an absolute blast.
I was actually going to ask you that, but the fact that you actually say this by yourself gives me hope to have you on a future panel, because the conversation was very natural with you, and I know I say this a lot on most of my streams, not all of them, because some guests do prefer not to come back, but that's up to them. Some of them have come back, and I'm always willing to have a guest that I feature on the first time to return, because I believe that I do have the criteria to discern when someone is willing to come back and stuff. I could be wrong, but if you want to come back, I'll definitely message you, and you should know that my panel is open. This is a free place where you can join in, you know, voice your opinions and discuss things. That's who we are. That's what we do here. And if you enjoyed it, that is basically me achieving my goal. And I feel that I've succeeded, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been great. And I would love to come back and talk to the group of panelists again, you know, on whatever topic we end up discussing. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm glad that you see it that way, because we haven't had Angus on for a while, and I'd like to have a panel with you and him as well, you know, or maybe have Steph on. And these guys, they're great, and all of you guys. I mean, if I could have a panel where I basically just had like 200 people just talking and interdiscussing, that would be amazing. But you know, I have to take you guys like 5 at a time, because I want to be invested into everything that you guys have to say. And that can be achieved, I do believe. So all I need from you guys is to want to come back, and I will make arrangements for everyone and everything to come into fruition. To quote Mike Zero, because he likes using that word a lot. Into fruition.
Mike Zero.
Yeah. That's the only thing he's good at. Saying into fruition.
Man. I tried watching Mike Zero a couple of times. I couldn't really get that deep into it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you and me too, brother.
Yeah, I guess that's a lot of people's opinions, but he's fairly popular, so he has to be doing something right for some people.
Well, look, he is popular, I believe, because he's saying things that people want to believe, and I'm saying that from a personal experience because when I saw episode 8, I saw things that he said that I wanted to believe, like, Luke Skywalker basically using his green lightsaber again and maybe battling Rey, and I wanted to see kick, someone kick Rey's ass and stuff, and I thought that Luke would be the ideal person, but what we saw. I mean, like, I have a challenge for you guys. Just go to Mike Zero's Last Jedi prediction videos, like over 2 years ago, and see what he had predicted and compared to the movie that we got. Okay, so that's what goes to show you, and you can basically predict what he says about Episode 9 is basically what we're going to get for Episode 9. So when he says, "Oh, Anakin Skywalker might be coming back as a Force ghost," that means that basically it's just going to be possibly maybe a mention of the name in the movie, and you will be like, "I wasted 13 minutes of watching the Mike Zero video about Anakin Skywalker," whereas in the actual movie we got 3 seconds of his mention of the name.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. That sounds like a good possible video that a lot of us could do. But
We
yeah,
could.
yeah, I think that's a really great idea.
So, do you guys want to plug in your channels before we go? And Big Steve, by the way, whatever I said to Sean automatically also applies to you because you've been a good listener and we've been talking a lot of shit, and we do need good listeners on the stream.
Wait, Steve didn't get to do the quote thing like Sean did.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait, what quote thing?
Say a Star Wars quote and replace one of the words with the word sausage.
Oh, okay. Let me. No, Luke. I am your sausage. No.
That's not possible. Search your sausage. You know this to be true.
Oh my god, that is so wrong. I can actually see Luke and Vader shippers getting off to this right now.
Oh no. Oh no.
So wrong. So wrong. Rand, you're sick, my friend. We need to give
Thank
you some
you.
more electroshocks.
Well, if you do that, I probably will just laugh. At this point, I've gotten it so much.
Yeah.
All right, but
So,
yeah, I definitely. You said something about coming back on the show. Yeah. I definitely like to do that. I'm subscribed to you now, so I'll definitely be popping up here and there in my spare time. I kind of work Monday through Friday, so sometimes I'm obviously at work, but if I'm not at work, I love to stream. So yeah, you ever need a fill-in, I'll just let me know and I'll try to set an alarm on my phone or something.
awesome.
Sounds good, man. Sounds awesome. Thank you.
So
All right,
thanks,
and
man.
so-
I really do appreciate that. So,
Yeah.
awesome. We will keep in touch. Are you on Twitter, by the way? Because I'm completely uneducated. Do you have Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on the Twitter. I have some weird name. I don't know. I made the account and then I don't know what happened. I never used it or something, and they gave me some sort of funny handle, and they banned me. I don't know why, but I just dropped it in the chat.
Well, rekindle it because you can find us there, and we are mainly active on Twitter and stuff. So if there's anything that you want to say or interact with regarding the Fandom Collective, you can do so on Twitter. So I really appreciate the time that you took to stream with us and talk to us and exchange your opinions and ideas because they are all valued. And I'd love to have you on again.
All right, that's cool. You said the Fandom Collective?
Yes, Fandom Collective. When you say at Fandom Collective, you just fandom and right next to it, collective with a capital C, but without an E at the end. So it's like Venom Collective, like in Russian. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah, I found it. No, okay, we follow each other. Okay,
Right.
cool. Yeah, now
I
I
got
know.
you too.
Awesome.
I got you too. Right, Steve. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, man. I've been watching some of your Spawn comics, man. Your reviews
Oh,
on those. Yeah, I need to get back to watching those, man. I need to get back to watching those.
Yeah, I wasn't really getting many viewers, so I was wondering if anyone really cared. I was gonna probably push through them anyways because they're so easy to make, and I kind of break all the YouTube rules. I'm just waiting until I get in trouble. I figure I gotta wait a while before I'm worried about it. I don't follow any rules on my channel. My channel, if anybody wants to check it out, I do hangouts, I do videos, gaming and streaming and stuff. I'm about to upgrade my computer so that I can stream some better games on better quality. But I like to do the hangouts, and when I do the hangouts, it's usually a no rules type of a thing. You know, everybody is free to just kind of, I don't know, do or talk about whatever. I give everybody wrenches. I've never had a problem. No fights, no random channel bombers. So yeah, if you guys end up supporting my channel, you see I'm live, then that pretty much means you can probably jump in unless it's full.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. We'll keep in touch definitely through Ranto and Flip. Sorry, why did I say Flimp? I'm sorry. My accent's kind of screwed up. I'm running out of booze. Anyway, that's if that's all that we have to say today. Is there anything that you want to say, Rand?
Anything I want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's be with everybody and have a great day.
Same from me.
And boycott episode 9 and Captain Marvel, please.
Sorry, Captain Marvel is for sure. So I want to say goodbye to everyone on the chat and thank you very much for coming in. And I hope to catch you, Quick Steve, sometime in another stream possibly. And
Yeah.
we'll keep in touch. Rand, I know that you'll be in the bush, so if I need something, I'll just come to the plant and just basically knock on the leaves.
Okay.
So that's it, and I'll catch you guys next week with Flipped Out again on our next installation of Podrace After Party. See you guys, and thank you so much for coming.
All right, thank you.